Hello, my name is Travis David. I am doing my weather report from Keuperwick, Alaska. My observation dates range from the 18th of March to the 23rd of March, and the 20th is a skip day. Uh, Most of my observations were done between 7 a.m. and 7:10 a.m., but we also have the 22nd and the 23rd where it was done after 12 p.m. due to work constraints. Otherwise, let's get right into it here. So my temperatures for the 18th range between 21.1 degrees above zero, and it is really fairly accurate with the National Weather Service's. Let's see what their temperature is right here. Yeah, it's within 1 degree of their observation. Um, and as the week goes down, we can also see that my temperatures coincide with the National Weather Services. On the 19th, we had just about 0 degrees, a little bit over 0 degrees. We also had that the National Weather Service here, here, and we can see that it follows the path fairly well, and it jumps right back up on my last day observation on 23rd, right in line with the National Weather Service's accuracy. On the first day for the 18th, I had some nimbostratus clouds, and we had some precipitation in the form of freezing rain. That was pretty interesting. Um, doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, uh, it like instantly freezes to anything it touches and can become pretty dangerous. Um, we also have nimbostratus clouds that persisted throughout the 19th. So when we started getting down towards the 21st and down here to the 22nd, um, the clouds started changing, I think, to the about altostratus clouds, which were a little bit lighter in color. Um, there wasn't really any precipitation with it. Um, and then it started clearing up again on the 23rd, which we had pretty clear skies that day. And this is also reminiscent of the point in time between the 22nd, 23rd, when the wind started to pick up. Um, it had been fluctuating throughout the week, um, a little bit here and there. But just as a side note, right when this temperature went right up back up to above zero, the clouds started to pick up again. And you can see where this incline right here in temperature going all the way up to 25 degrees, the wind had actually jumped up to about 50 miles an hour at the same time as that temperature went up. Um, it wasn't in my observation, but it was something worth noting here. Um, and we'll go over to my barometric pressure here. At 995, 95 the next day. I didn't really have really big changes here, but it doesn't really coincide with the rise does, but it is a little bit different as far as and especially this drop that goes down here. I'm not really sure why it went down so hard. Um, it might have been a high pressure, or it was with the coming of the warm weather that was about to come, and it started going back up again. Um, but otherwise, it was some really high pressures between the 20th the 23rd. And that's about what that's about where we had gotten away from the cloudy skies of the 18th and 19th. Um, and the 21st was when the clouds started clearing out and started changing. And then that's reminiscent of the, the pressure and how the how the pressure changed throughout the week from a low to a high, um, starting out as a low and then moving up to a high. Let's see. Let's go to our weather maps here. So on Monday, March 18th, 2019, we had precipitation here. It doesn't directly correlate with down here, but it was wet clouds here on the 18th, and this is where we got freezing rain when I woke up in the morning at 5 a.m. and everything was covered in ice. We also had blowing snow. It was a little windy. Not too bad, but it was enough that snow was moving around. Um, in here we got a cyclone working up right here. We got with that high here and a low over here. So we got those low and highs converging here, pushing the warm air up towards the north. Cold air coming from the west here. Here, this is mostly like the barrier between the high and the low, where they're interchanging, and you get some different weather patterns here. Mostly snow and rain, freezing snow, um, showers in some cases. It probably was raining there, um, and at the low way over here. And we'll move on to the next day, how it changes to the 19th. So on the 19th, we ended up getting two low pressure systems and more precipitation and snow. Um, the cyclone is basically running itself out. It's still got somewhat of a little bit of a busy area here, um, but then you got these two cold and hot airs kind of moving together right here, which is a little. It looks a little odd right there. I don't know what that means, but they're clashing together, making a little bit of clouds, starting precipitation, and it's basically like hot air overriding the cold air, or cold air underwriting the hot air. Um, and we could see this high, low, 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 high, like a wave pattern right through there, right over the top of Alaska, right through Alaska, going through there, which is the convergence of air going from lows to high, lows to highs. Here on the 22nd, because we skipped the 20th, we have a low here. We have precipitation up top here. We got more precipitation, started moving towards the west a little bit. As far as hot air moving over, it's probably mixing up with the clouds there, turning into snow. Yeah. We'll move on to the 22nd. So here we got some clouds working their way here. I think they were called altostratus clouds, but they didn't really have anything with them. They didn't have any snow or precipitation. It was mostly just blowing snow, as you can see here from the wind picking up. We had some warmer weather here, some precipitation possibly here, but mostly it was just wet clouds. We'll move on to the 23rd, which is my last day observations, and we're still about a little bit of alto stratus clouds, not packing any precipitation or snow or anything like that. The winds were pretty much calmed down from, if you go back to 22nd and 21st, they had picked up, but then they calmed down here, and that's about the same time as when the temperature started rising again. And then we'll move on to, let's go check weather maps here. So GEOS maps, you can see that these here, for visible, they look pretty accurate from this one to that one. As far as the, like they're kind of higher gray clouds, but not thick or dark colored like nimbostratus clouds. But they were kind of just flat and laid out. And you can see the infrared here too, where it didn't have much. They were mostly dark spots, so they're a little bit lower and a little bit flatter. In the water vapor, you don't see any water vapor in it, as far as being over the region where I was at on the 21st, and it's kind of accurate. That's accurate with what I seen there at that time. Let's go back to, yep, like I said before, the biggest anomalies that I seen throughout the whole week were the freezing rain on the 18th, and my graph didn't have any max temperatures for the National Weather Service, so I couldn't really plot out the persistent or climate perspectives of weather observations. Just by looking at this, I could say that they probably wouldn't have worked out. Just because the range from 20 above all the way down to negative 12 is pretty big drop, and it would have been over 10 degrees. But as far as, and the other anomaly for the week was here at the 24th to the 25th, but it wasn't in my observations, but it was worth noting how the temperature increase throughout the day also had a direct increase with wind. It very, very windy on those days, reaching 40 to 50 miles an hour. And most of the wind calculations that I did were off of a windsock that was there where I was working at. So, and I think that's it. Overall, I just wanted to see if we did okay on the highs and lows, and the only thing I could see is that cyclone pushing up hot air on that day, but it never reached there. It actually, temperatures dropped by this point here, the 21st, which is where we got a low pressure system, and then here is when the wind picked up, and temperatures were dropping then. And then 23rd was where it warmed up, and then after that it increasingly warmed up. We had it doesn't indicate any lows and highs here, so I'm guessing that it was the as far as hot warm air moving in from from either this high